Okay, this is the third installment in the Diddle Patterns series. This A through D installment focuses on left-hand diddles. There are some right-hand diddles in this sequence, but the first diddle in the sequence for each line will start with the left hand. Okay, now we get into diddle interpretation because the 16th notes that are set up before you play the diddle should remain constant. Okay, so we don't want to slow the diddles. We want to make the diddles fall exactly where the 16ths would fall. All right, if that makes sense. That's a whole nother video about interpretation of left-hand diddles. So anyway, without further ado, the first two installments set up the accent patterns. All right, for this sheet, the accent patterns remain the same as the first two sheets. But we're going to put left-hand diddles. So letter A is just simply going to be this again. All right, and then we're simply going to put a diddle after every accent. All right, so you've got the accents, and we put a diddle on the left hand after every accent. Okay, so on this sheet, the accents remain constant for both measures, whereas the first two sheets we did not accent because we were playing diddles where the accents were, if that makes sense. So, without further ado, here's letter A. And we're still going to set a conservative speed or tempo of 100 beats per minute. Here we go. So letter B, same as letter B in the other two. And then we put diddles after every accent. Okay, so here's letter B. Let's try that again. Okay, so throughout this sheet we are interpreting the diddles on the left hand like that, as opposed to slurring, which sounds like, that's the way we played diddles back in the 70s, as opposed to this is also called correct interp. Correct meaning when you play the 16ths in the diddle pattern, the 16ths remain constant from the previous measure. All right? Okay, letter C. This is the accent pattern. All right? On the diddle pattern on this one, I chose not to put a diddle after the next to the last accent because it got a little intricate there, and this is mainly focused in targeting students who have never played diddle patterns like this. So I try to make it as simple as possible. So the second measure, C, is simply going to be, instead of, all right, small difference. All right, here's letter C. These are also called lesson 25s. This one would be rudiments, all right? A rudiment to learn. All right, here's letter D. And then the diddle pattern. So that was pretty simple there. All right, so here's D. All right, so let me go back and play A, B, C, and D without stopping. One time through each. Let me see if I can do this. Here we go. So that is diddle patterns, left hand emphasis, A through D. So stay tuned for E through H. And then the next sheet will actually have the same exact accent pattern, but we're going to start playing 5-stroke roll patterns on the right. And then the next sheet is 5-stroke roll patterns on the left. So you've got the 4 sheets. Right hand emphasis for diddles, left hand emphasis for diddles, right hand emphasis for 5-stroke roll patterns, and left hand emphasis for 5-stroke roll patterns. So until then, keep on drumming. Stay tuned.